Hello there, my name is Mark Mann from Nash Tackle and this is Simon Maris from Nash Tackle. Both consultants for the company, and we've had an exclusive invite to Blanchet Fosse in France. It's a unique lake, it's untapped, we don't really know what the quantity is. We've come down, the weather's not been ideal.
Not great,
no,
northerlies.
Exactly, northerly's been through. Although a good friend of mine, David, who we come down to visit, he's been lucky enough to get a carp that was become named as Obelix.
20 kilo.
20 kilos, so it's a very nice fish, and obviously you'll see photos in a while anyway to see to that effect what sort of carp we've got in here. So we decided while we're here, we're going to give you guys the opportunity to see some of the products that us guys in England, what we do and what we use. So over the next couple of minutes or hours, bore you to death, we'll see what we can show you and see if you can implement it to your fishing and improve your catches. All right? Okay. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so we're in France. We're on absolutely, it's a beautiful lake, and you're going to see obviously the photos as they come through. I'm with Simon Maris. We're going to talk about how we approach a new water when it's untapped. There's a lot of waters out there that, you know, they've got carp galore, and people can turn up and they can fish and they know what they expect to catch. So yeah. I think what me and Simon are going to do now is we're going to talk about what we would do if we turn up to a virgin water. Nobody knows what's going on, nobody knows what's happening and how we're going to approach it. So I'll start with Simon. He's got some interesting ideas on what he would do. So okay, so this is a scenario. Okay, what we've done is we're rocked up to this lake. We don't know nothing about it. There's a few of us fishing. We don't know what the stock of fish is. How do you think you'd approach it, or how have you been approaching it?
Okay, well it's obviously a very old lake. It's not a gravel pit. It looks like an old dammed estate lake.
Yeah, from what I gather, we've got a monastery in the background almost.
That's right,
Yeah,
an
that's
an
right.
old ruined abbey. Heavily tree lined one side. A lot of leaf litter. Excuse me. Voice is going. A lot of leaf litter in the margins. Very silty and very shallow. This time of year is no weed, although it does get weedy in
Yeah,
summer.
so I forget to mention we are in April, so we're up against it anyway,
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
away. Yeah, definitely.
So immediately I'm thinking it's going to be very soft bottom, hardly any hard areas.
and you're thinking exactly what I'm thinking,
and I'm
mate.
thinking
The C word, isn't it?
we've only got 2 days to do it.
Exactly.
Get the chods out there.
Exactly, chods. And I don't know for you guys in Europe how sort of how keen you are on using this method, but we've used it to devastating effect within the UK. Everywhere we go, okay, they're not virgin waters what we're fishing, but big carp like boilies, and if you can get away with boilies, then a chod rig I think is the next step, isn't it? It's the next method.
It's not only that, but I think because we're on such a limited amount of time, we can't afford to go in heavy with marker floats, trying to find all the different depths.
Do you use a marker float?
I bought one with me this time, and I've not even taken
Is
it out
that
of
the
rod
reason why
holder
my
yet.
car's even more packed than it normally
It
is?
is,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I thought so.
But basically, we just want to be leading around. I'm using
I
braided.
brought a bloody marker float.
I'm using braided mainline, so I can lead around quite accurately with my ordinary fishing rods. As soon as I find an area that I think is presentable, reasonably presentable, that'll be it. Clip
But
up,
I mean,
chod
you
rigs
touched on something straight away there. That the fact is, you and me both, we're not mono anglers. We don't use mono. We're more into our braid. Okay, we're using the bullet braid. Us at Nash, we've developed and designed a new braid that's coming out now.
Bullet braid 2 should be out any day.
Exactly right. It's been improved, and we've just developed it further to make it sink better, etc. But the thing is with braid is, when we're at limited time like we are, you don't want to thrash the water with a marker float. You want as least disturbance as possible, especially if you fall on fish. I mean, this is a virgin water. If we've found fish, I don't want to start introducing a bright orange
Carp scarer.
Carp scarer, yeah, that's it, into the lake. Whereas with braid, if with time, you can learn to cast out, land that lead down, fill the lead down, and it's just really important watercraft, isn't it? That's sort
Well,
of.
not only that, but you can gauge roughly how deep the water is by the amount of time the lead takes to fall through the water.
Definitely.
So you can work out whether you're in 4 foot or 8 foot or 12 foot, 20 foot.
And then you just pull back and just feeling for your feet.
But we're looking more for where the carp are and putting a rig in that area.
Yeah, cool.
Irrespective of whether it's 4 foot, 6 foot, gravel silt,
No, I get
wherever
you,
the
mate.
carp are, that's where you want to put the bait.
Okay,
And the
so
best rig for doing that at the
it's
moment
chod.
is the chod.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound one-dimensional.
No.
I mean, we will change if we need to, but the thing is with the chod is, like we've experienced for a long time now, is you cast it out, and no matter what's happening, that bait is fishing. It's you don't have to use PVA, you don't have to do anything else but cast that rig out. So I think what we'll do is, in the next section, is we'll talk about the chod rig and show you the setup and how we go about tying it, how we go about the cork balls we use, not necessarily like pop-ups, although we do use the airball pop-ups as well. But with this particular setup that you've got here, we're using a different sort of design.
Homemade cork ball.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we'll speak to you in a minute. We'll go from there. So we're here in France. We've established that we go straight in with a chod rig, basically, purely because it fishes really well.
Yeah.
Simon's going to now show you his design on the chod rig, how he uses it, and to great effect, may I add. You know, a couple of days ago, before we visited here, he was lucky enough to visit another venue, and this was the rig that produced the goods, wasn't it? You know,
double quick time.
Exactly, really good.
2 nights.
I'm using a very similar version, but I'm using the 1.5 diffusion camo leaders. Again, produced the goods for me once, but due to my naivety, I lost it purely because of where the lead placement was to where the rig is. This eliminates it, but I think what we can do is we can improve on that with the diffusion lead camo. Maybe we'll show that in a bit as well. So yeah, over to you, Simon, mate. The chod rig. This is the item.
This is it.
Yep.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I think everyone's probably familiar with chod rig, but this is my take on it. It's what I've sort of been tweaking over the last few years. It's quite a long. It's probably the best part of
6 foot, 5 foot.
Yeah, about 6 foot there.
Yeah. So that's what what's 2 meters approximately.
2 meters.
Yeah, that's it.
45-pound core plus lead core.
Okay.
The main difference between this and bog standard chod rig is the fact that I've got a fixed 8-inch lead link.
That's just like a retainer sort of link. Yeah, definitely.
The chod rig itself sits on here. I'll show you that.
Okay, and we'll go through the chod rig in a minute as well for you guys that are not familiar with it or unsure of it or what it is. We'll show you that in a minute as well. So just bear with us. We'll show you the whole setup and then we'll go through the actual fundamentals and the detail in a minute. But what I mentioned is with the lead core, Simon's actually spliced the lead core with a little needle. Is that right? How you do it?
Yeah, just the lead core splicing needle. I don't glue the splices.
Yeah, I mean the thing is as well, a lot of people, you don't need to knot these. When you splice them with a needle, if you at least splice 1.5 2 inches,
2 inches,
2 inches, you don't need to burn it. You don't need to do anything like that.
Pull it really tight with like a puller tool, just to compress it.
Yeah, and then when that's pulled tight, or when it's moist, say for instance in water, that will be stronger than a knot. I know it sounds quite
yeah, you get the full
extreme.
breaking strain of the material.
Exactly, and it looks neater. It's nice, and the other thing is, if you was to burn the tags or anything like that, you're then effectively making what they call a diff rig, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Beads
because I mean you guys might not be able to see this, so we'll explain it anyway. But with a chod rig, I think the most important element of the rig, not for the effectiveness or how it fishes, is for the fact is if you do crack off, and we all do it, it doesn't matter how good you are or how long you've been fishing, it can happen, is this bead, which is where the chod rig rides up to the line, can release itself. And what we do is we just literally put a bit of silicone tubing.
What large bore bead with a piece of silicone below it, and that bead must be able to pass off the end of the lead core.
Exactly right.
And any knots.
So effectively, if it happens, and it does happen, we won't deny that, the only thing that Carp's going to be travelling with eventually is just the chod rig, and they will rid that eventually anyway. It's just natural, isn't it? But just a little bit of silicone, or what I've been lately using is with the safety beads, you get the actual bores that you use to plug into the actual clip. You can actually use one of them and it fits perfectly with that. But if you burn the tag on the end here, you're actually hindering that bead coming off, which means it's going to be trailing 6 foot of lead core. It's something nobody wants to happen, wherever you are in the country, that's fine. So okay, that's emphasised. So what we've got here is we're going for about 5-6 foot worth of lead core.
6 foot in total.
Yeah.
A foot, just under a foot to the lead. So it's
cool.
5 foot that end.
That's it.
The bead's placed probably 30 centimetres from the end of the lead core.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So the bait will end up.
That's right. Another thing as well to mention is in the UK we've had great effect to using a bead really higher up. It gives you the most advantage because where that lead lands is not necessarily going to be where the bait's going to lie.
No.
We're hoping for that. So wherever you're fishing, whether you're on weed, on chod, even over like gravel humps, this is going to rest wherever the
highest point basically.
Yeah, the highest point. Yeah,
that's it. It'll get forced up there on the cast.
Yeah.
It'll go in like that, and it'll come to rest wherever the highest point is.
Like that. That's fine.
Over the weed.
Okay. Another thing, just to quickly mention the difference with me using the diffusion camo is with lead core, you're relying on the weight of the lead core to actually keep. I mean, we'll use a pop-up, a corkable pop-up as well. If you want instant success and you're fishing short sessions, then the top rod airball pop-ups are really good. If you're looking for long-term, then maybe we'll go to the corkables, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But with lead core, you're relying on the weight of the lead core to actually get the pop-up on the floor.
Down.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas when I'm using the diffusion camo leaders, what I tend to do is just on, oh look, they're sharp, is I'll actually put some putty just around the swivel, and that just weights it down. You don't need nothing more. Same principle, same concept, isn't it? That's fine. So you can see that's a nice curly, short little choddy rig. Okay.
Just that curve, that's not put in by me curling it or by steam. It's literally just tie them up, put them on the chod bin.
Yeah.
By the time you come to use them, they're set.
Yeah.
And they're ready.
I mean, the whole idea of our engineering with Nash is to make you fish as effectively as you can, as quickly as you can. And with the design, I say, with this box here, you've got a ready-made compartment that's solid as well, and sturdy, isn't it? Yeah.
But I mean, it's made for the job. You know, you're not using something that's.
It has a direct purpose, doesn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. So they just absolutely.
As they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Curve, ready to go.
Sorry. You sighed there. Yeah, go and have one. How do you become a good carp angler? Nick everybody else's ideas. No worries. So okay, we'll explain this bit as well. Okay, and this is I got the concept and everything, but I'm playing with the idea of chod rigs with the diffusion camo leader. For me, for concealment, diffusion camo you cannot find better. I don't think there's any lead core out there that you can match to a lake bed. Yeah. So, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily change. The catch, but
yeah, I think it's. I've never had any problems with the lead core.
Yeah.
Be it brown or green, I don't think it's affected my catch results. But saying that, you know, as a water I'm on now, they've just banned lead core leaders.
Right. Okay. Yes. Cool.
So 1.5 metre diffusion camos, the way you do it, sort of naked, will be the way I'll be going.
And do you know what? I've used it to devastating effect, but I've used it in the UK. And in the UK, okay, we have carp that can be as big as Europe, but not as consistent, can't we? You know. And what I was using is it was a helicopter bead on here, on the diffusion camo, but I wasn't using the tail. And what was happening is, to my own, well, I learned the hard way, is it did slip throughout the battle. And what happened is the chod ended up near the lead. And what happens when the chod ends up near the lead, it's using the weight of the lead as leverage to work the hook out. And within what, 2 foot?
Well,
3
it was
foot?
literally just ready for the net. As soon as it hit the surface.
We was talking about where to do the photos and all sorts.
Yes.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
What Simon's done, as like we said, we've got the quick link, if you like. Yeah. And just a little, what's that? About 8 inches. Yeah. Of lead core spliced again, exactly the same.
There's no lead core in there.
Oh no,
I mean, you can leave it in if you want. But
it's up to you, I suppose. But what this does is effectively, when the carp is hooked,
keeps that lead away from the hook, from the fish's mouth.
Effectively, what's happening is the carp is swimming and that lead's hanging down by its side. Okay, so the lead's not it's not a main player in the route.
It's out of the way.
Yes,
it's not causing.
Okay, so that's the chod rig. What we'll do next is, I think we'll
I'll just add.
Sorry.
The other benefit of this is, if you need to put a new rig on, or at the end of the session, all I do, take that off, slide the rig off, put a new one on if you need to.
Yeah.
Or put the link back on, put it on your rod rings, pack up, way to go.
Job done, innit?
You know,
another session, another day.
Another day. The other thing, you know, if I'm rebaiting at the end of the evening and I'll need a new rig, you know, I'll put the bait on, you know, take a new rig off the rig bin, put a new bait on, slide the old one off, put it back on, away you go.
Job done. You're fishing
you don't
again.
Have to be, you know, you can tie them up at your leisure.
That's it.
No,
they're very simple. It's a very effective way of fishing when you don't know what you're fishing over, but you can see carp and you want to get your bait out there quickly. What we'll do is we'll go through the chod rig itself in detail in a minute, how you go about tying one up, what we use to great effect, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit about baiting strategy, what we would do, the circumstances involved, and go from there.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
Okay, so with the chod rig, we've got a few options on bait, what we're going to use. We've got cork balls, we've got the air ball pop-ups, the top rod range. I like the Scopex squid. Monster squid's a very good one as well. I mean, I'll alternate between the two, you know, very proven big fish sort of baits, aren't you? That's it. Okay, so I'll explain the difference, and so I'll show you what he's made up and what we use. So straight out of a tub, what you've got is the top rod range. You've got a Scopex squid here, which is Tiger Nut Meal Plus, isn't it? That's it. Now with these, they're made slightly different. There's no cork ball in them. They're made with a pop-up mix, air ball mix. Yeah. So what will happen is effectively you're going to have to make a loop, and you're going to have to tighten down like a lasso, and then you're going to have to rely on the boilie to slightly swell to keep the bait on. I mean, you can tighten it in, it's not a problem yet. But then what I'd do is I'd actually literally tie that onto a ring swivel like this.
On the D of the,
that's it. Okay, so you've got two things there that's going to be, or could prove to be, a problem. One's going to be the fact that you might have difficulty tying the lasso, and two, burning the tags off, etc.
Yeah.
So, talking between ourselves, we think that another good version would be is to use cork ball pop-ups in a right, and I think
Yeah, I mean, I've used to make cork ball pop-ups years and years ago. Air ball pop-ups, great. But personally, I like to match my hook baits exactly to the 3 offerings. You can buy the paste, moulded around cork balls. Personally, I prefer to get the base mix, sieve it, add the flavours.
It's a real fine grain.
Yeah, grind it all down so there's no lumps in it. Tiny little bit of egg albumin in there. Roll them on a 16mm, 12mm cork ball, 16mm rolling table.
Yep.
Produces 16mm pop-up.
Yeah, so you don't, a lot of people think when you make cork balls, you're going to have to hand roll everyone, you're going to roll and roll and roll, you know, it takes hours and all. Yeah. If you've got a rolling table and like the right components to...
That's it, yeah. All I do is put the cork ball in a piece of paste, quick roll to get it into rough ball shape, put it in the tray on the rolling table, finish it off.
What's that, 30-second boil?
Minute boil.
1 minute boil. Yeah, 1 minute boil, and then
you can buy. Rather than buying all the different liquids, you can buy top rod formula that's got everything in it already. Right. So all you need to do is measure out the amount you use. I used 7ml of flavouring with 1 egg, 50-50 monster pursuit and Scopex squid.
Cool. So we've already done the hard work for you. Okay. Yeah. We've gone out and found you the best formula for bait we possibly can. The only thing left for you guys to do is to make it up and make the cork ball pop-ups you want. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, air ball pop-ups, they are good, they'll stay up for a lot longer. They go a bit spongy, but if you want something to mimic your bait, then I think cork balls are the way forward,
They'll last 24 hours, but at the moment, I've had those out since yesterday evening. It's now 4 o'clock. They'll be out probably till...
What, you're not caught yet?
10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
You're not caught yet?
No, well, it does help if you've got a lake with carp in it.
And that is
or more,
true.
Or more than one carp in it.
Yeah, well, exactly. The thing is, right, we're fishing a virgin water. We know there's 120 kilo carp in it. We don't know if there's any more. We could be fishing for one fish. It's a little bit exciting, but the other time it's a little bit daunting as well. That's it.
No, to be fair, we did see another one, didn't we?
We've seen one. You've seen one other.
Yeah.
So we're fishing for 2 carp right now. Will it happen? Oh God, I hope so. But if it doesn't, it's experience. That's fine. But there you go. So this is the tactic you've gone to, cork balls. Yeah. Now we're going to show you how we would use these in conjunction with a chod rig. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, we don't produce these, but we've nicked. But we've just
rig and roll boring.
Yeah.
I think they come onto the market about 6 months ago.
Yeah. Looks like a curtain ring.
Yeah, basically it's a small curtain ring with screw thread on it. Basically, I'm fishing back in England, fishing quite a shallow, clear, weedy lake. Loads and loads of coots on there and getting picked up all the time. I used to tie them on, lasso them on, but eventually the coots pull them off. But with these little things, you screw the bait on, and they're on there forever and a day.
Punch them in. That's with cork, guys. I mean, you got to bear in mind, obviously, you're going through what, a 2 mil skin, something like that. Is it?
Yeah, about 2 mil skin.
2 mil skin.
To the cork. I don't do it with the airball ones because of the weight of the boring itself. It does affect the buoyancy with the big hooks and the big swivels. So yeah, I only use those for cork ball pop-ups.
Right.
If I'm using airball pop-ups, I will still tie them on or pierce them with a bit of thick mono.
Yeah, cool. I just say that's if you're one of those anglers that time's against your side, or you don't. I mean, they are quick, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're super quick. But if you can't get hold of them, we're going to show you another little quick trick with mono that will do exactly the same thing almost, won't it?
Well, it does the same thing. It's slightly easier than tying them on, and the other thing is, again, the coots find them harder to take off.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
we're talking about no worries, cool. We'll talk in a minute. Right, so we talked about different methods of how to attach a boilie to a chod rig. Okay. A real quick nifty trick we're going to show you right now is with some mono, and this is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically stiff mono.
What pound?
That's 20-pound bristle filament.
Cool.
Thread it through your.
And this is if you haven't got the screw. You know, we were talking about just a ring on the chod rig.
Well, it's not so much the screw. Well, you can do it with a cork ball. This is the way I do it with an air ball.
Oh right, okay. That'll cost you 50p, that one.
Gated baiting needle.
50p I want out of you.
Swap it for a cork ball.
50p.
Okay, deal. Thread it through, pull it down. Leave about a centimetre or just under a centimetre of bristle filament.
So we've got the bristle filament, should I say, coming through the boilie now, round the boring. Okay, that's fine.
Blob it. Squash it down.
Yeah.
That produces like a little flat disc.
Don't use your finger, obviously. Use the lighter. Just use the cane. Yeah, it's
and
cool.
There you go. Ready to
See,
rock.
that is really quick and equally as effective, isn't it? You know what I mean?
And it won't come off as easy as the. All right, it's been pierced.
Yeah.
But with the airball pop-ups, it doesn't matter.
Well, I think if it pierces anyway, as it swells, it tightens round. That's it. It's not going to affect the buoyancy.
Very minimal.
That's it.
Water ingress.
And what you're doing is by burning the tag, you're actually making yourself a natural boilie
stop.
Boilie stop. That's it. So that's a real quick method if you want to get fishing real quick on the chod rig with the air balls.
Coot proof.
Yeah, coot proof. Lovely. Easy as that. So we've talked about the chod rig and how we approach a lake of any sort anyway to begin with. We like the chod rig, don't we? We've got 100% confidence in it, haven't we?
Absolutely.
No worries.
It works.
So what we're going to talk about now is baiting approach and how we'd address a lake that... I'll explain the situation a little bit more actually. We've basically done a little mini tour in France just lately. We've done 48 hours on one lake, and now we've come to a virgin lake, which is 48 hours on an untapped lake. Two different scenarios. One lake's got a lot of fish in, and one lake we don't know, do we? So what we're going to do is we'll explain to you how we approached the first lake and the baiting methods we chose to do with 48 hours, and then we'll come over to talk about this. So when we turned up at the first lake, we still didn't know much about the lake, did we?
Well, hardly anything.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
But we knew the stock. We knew the stock was good. We knew there was a healthy stock of fish.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is we've only got 48 hours. We don't want to create a mass feeding approach.
Yeah.
We want to just try and nick a fish straight away, don't we?
Sorry.
And then go to the next fish. Yeah.
Correct,
So what did you do?
Well,
how did you do it?
Well, can I just add to that? Not only did we want to nick a fish quickly, we didn't want to disturb the area heavily.
Yeah, we didn't want to ruin.
We didn't want to start marking up, finding the exact depths, where the weed beds were. All we wanted to do was get the rigs in a presentable area, a little bit of bait, enough to attract a fish, as you say.
That's it. Yeah.
And then we can work it out from there, judge it.
And just to add to that as well, the backing of the fact that we used braid, we didn't need a marker float. We worked out with the lead. We're not bothered about depths really, are we? We're looking for clear spots that we know we can present a bait effectively, don't we? So we don't bother with markers unless we absolutely have to. We've got braid, we fill the lead down, and we've found a clear spot. So now we're going on to the basis that that's happened. What we're going to do?
Well, I'm using 4 rods, so first thing I did was I concentrated on finding 2 areas, so fishing a pair of rods on each area.
Yeah.
That way I can maximise my chances. If one area does produce, chances are, it might produce more than one fish.
You can move your rods over if you need.
Well, not only that, but having 2 rods on one area means I can take one rod, catch a fish on one rod, there's still another rod fishing that area effectively.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, basically I applied approximately 50 baits, mixture of 15 mils, 20 mil baits to each area, and fished a pair of rods over that area.
So we're not talking a lot of bait. The more, if you look at it as a percentage basis, the more bait you put in, the less a percentage you chance of you got to pick up. No matter what size of fish they are, isn't it? If 50 baits is enough to get any carp looking for them, and if one of those baits is 1 in a 50 chance, you put a kilo in, God knows, 1 in 1,000 chance, isn't it?
Well, we're not in there, but we just wanted to catch 8 fish, didn't we?
Definitely.
Because of the size of them, catching one of those, we would have been happy.
Yeah.
This lake, completely different scenario.
Yeah.
The other lake we pretty much had to ourselves. This one's already got a few anglers in it, already occupying a couple of prime areas.
Yeah.
So we've decided middle of the lake, big bed of bait this time.
Yeah.
Between the 2 of us, we've got a pair of rods each.
Exactly. We didn't know what to expect when we turned up here. So our theory is, it doesn't matter whether the carp has seen boilies or whether they've never known about them. They will eat boilies. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of whether or not, or when they come in. The weather hasn't been on our side. So what we've basically done is we've picked a central location in the whole of the lake, and what we've done is we've decided to go out, bait and wait. Yeah, bait and wait, and I think that sometimes can pay off. Hasn't yet.
Still got another night.
Say like David's been here 2 days beforehand. He's applied his own techniques to it, and he's managed to get himself a 20 kilo fish, hasn't he? We're hoping that we can nick one out before the end of the session. But on a big bait scenario, well, a big bait, we're saying
it's still only a kilo.
Yeah, a kilo. So we're not talking about going. If you've only got 2 days to your expense, you don't want to be starting to mass bait, and we haven't got the time to do it. So what we'll do is we'll show you the 2 baits that we've been using. We'll talk a little bit about rock salt as well, and the chain reaction as well, and a dip as well. Okay, so what we're looking for is we're looking to bring in some attraction into the area. Don't get me wrong, monster squid, it's a proven bait, it will catch from the word go, won't it?
Yeah.
What can we do to make that even more attractive? I think the boilie dips and the food dips in it as well.
Yeah. Well, we basically I'd 50-50. It was about a kilo.
Some of these.
Kilo of.
I mean, these are the Scope squid,
15 millers. Half a kilo. There's quite a few tension bream in here, so half a kilo of the 20 millers.
It keeps them guessing a bit as well, doesn't it? It trips them up to keep your different size baits, etc. So we've got a mixture of monster squid, we've got Scope squid, and we've got some dip as well. With the dip, what we like to do at this time of year, when the water temperature is not as high as it would be, I still don't mind a little bit of oil content. So what we do is we've got the monster squid boilie dip and the food dip as well, and we mix it 30-20, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's slightly less, about 25% of the boilie dip, 75% of the food dip.
Yes, so the boilie dip's oil based, and the food dip's obviously a concentrate liquid. You mix them together, you get the best of both worlds. You get leakage off the oil, and also you got the food bait that comes out as well. It's just giving you extra confidence and extra sort of attraction, isn't it, to pull them down. One thing else is we do like to use is a little bit of salt, but I think it's been misunderstood in some sense.
Yeah, I think less is definitely more when it comes to salt. With that 2.5 or that 1.5 kilos, I put in a tiny amount of rock salt.
Yeah, we're not even talking. We're talking grams here. We're not talking about handfuls.
And that was over an area of probably about 25 square yards.
Yes, I mean, what we've found is through talking to various people is salt's been misunderstood by some margin, hasn't it?
Yeah.
People think that there is one salt and it's the same, but it's not. There's different chemicals that apply to different salt to make different effects. For instance, the salt that the people put on the road, grit and stuff like that, it's got chemicals in it that are actually poisonous to the carp and to the lake. It can destroy a fishery in effect.
Last thing you want to be doing is putting that in. It's got to be human grade.
Yeah, definitely.
And the reason why is because that's the salt that contains the minerals, which is what attracts the carp to the salt.
If you've got the minerals, that's an English thing, that is minerals. You know what I mean? But it's true. And the thing is, what you've got to think about salt is it's not a food source for the carp. It's what they use is almost like I suppose it's like a penicillin for carp, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It's the minerals and the rub.
That's it. The carp. I mean, from speaking to koi dealers, when it comes to salt, what the carp effectively use this to do is to build up a greater layer of slime. I don't know if you've heard that as well. And to protect them and to help heal wounds, etc. Now, by overloading it, you're only going to do one thing. You eventually you're going to deter the carp from the area, okay? And effectively, it's going to be good in early spring, late autumn. That's it. I mean, do you know what? If it was summer, I might still use it, but I'm not even going to. I might just put one in there. Yeah. I mean, you think when you make boilies, if you make boilies, or when we're making these, we're putting miniature. Sorry for the bleeps and the alarms and the wind, but we're talking about a minute amount of salt that we add to the actual base mixes, etc. That's a very concentrated bit of salt there, isn't it? Yeah. But the thing I want to emphasise is, okay, you can go get your table salt. It's a different type of salt. Okay.
Well, the table salt's not got the minerals in it.
Exactly, it's not got the minerals.
Yeah.
It hasn't got the minerals. Exactly.
It's got to be rock salt, human grade.
You're going to be crazy to start thinking about using like road salt and stuff like that. It's got chemicals in it that are designed. It's just not food grade, is it? You wouldn't eat it, so why would you give it to your fish?
Correct.
Exactly. And I really want to emphasise that point. We've designed a pack of salt that you can pick up. That bag will last you a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what we've done is, if you don't want to use the salt, then we've got the chain reaction as well, which is it's got milk proteins in it as well. Do you know what I mean? The thing is, if you're doing overnighters and you're doing short sessions, then the chain reaction might be something a little bit better for you anyway.
Yeah, and again, it's just one of those casts.
One.
That's all you
We're
need.
talking one. You don't even need to load it. We're talking a lot of attraction with little distraction. I like to say. You know what I mean? It's so cheesy.
If you look closely, you can see little specks in it. And
Exactly.
That's
all you need. I know, sort of babbling on a little bit about this, but I think we released it, and maybe we're slightly naive to how people perceive it and what they think, because even in the UK, people think, well, I can get salt from the supermarket, or I can get salt from the
Builders
builders
merchants,
merchants. We've designed this for a reason, to be as pure and as good as we possibly can.
It's safe, and it's got in there what the carp are attracted to.
You bored enough yet? No? Have you got the message yet? No? We've done it for a reason, right, guys? I know we're babbling on about it, yeah? But look, we've designed it for you. This is going to last you a long time, a tub. Don't waste your money on rubbish, you know what I mean? There's no point, is there?
No point.
You know what I mean?
No.
So there you go. But that's our baiting strategy. Basically, you know, little and often, if we have a fish, then we'll maybe introduce some more bait. But you know, you don't have to put kilo upon kilo upon kilo for a couple of days.
Well, we've bought what? I think we bought 10 kilo with us.
We weren't greedy with it.
48 hours.
Nothing. That's it.
We got a whole bag and that left still.
Exactly, and just relied on the food dip and the boilie dip to help pull the attraction, you know. But there you go. That's our idea on bait, and I hope you can take something away from it. Again, I'm going to mention the salt. Don't abuse it. It doesn't need to be abused. You'll catch a lot more fish if you don't. In fact, all right. So that's exactly right. So.